Good afternoon, Nancy. Good afternoon, Nancy. Hi, can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Nancy, can you hear me? Hi, Nancy,
Yes,
can
I
you
can
hear
hear
me?
you.
Yeah?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear
Okay.
you.
Oh, I can hear you as well. Thanks. Okay. So we are
All right.
really
All
uh,
right.
thrilled to see you here and welcome to this part of the Valley of the Word. And Nancy, we are
Thank
going
you.
to be
Yes.
telling our audience that you are here because your book, It's My Color, is part of the Valley of Words. Absolutely, we're matching, brain match. So we're both there, and we are thrilled to share some video with you of young
All
children who've
right.
enjoyed their book. Would you like to see how the children have enjoyed your book? Should we share the
Oh,
video with you
yes.
first? Okay,
I'm
great.
waiting.
So can we request the video,
Sure.
please?
Whose color is green? Asked the little boy. It's mine. Preened the parrot. It's mine, it's mine. Babbled the bitter gourd. The sun turned to look at them. Whose color is red? Asked the boy. It's mine. Tittered the tomato. It's mine, it's mine. Cried the crab. The sun turned to stare at them. Whose color is yellow? Asked the boy. It's mine. Laughed the lorry. It's ours, it's ours. Smiled the sunflower. The sun turned to gape at them. Whose color is blue? Asked the boy. That's mine. Wheezed the whale. It's mine. Weaved the bird. The sun turned to glare at them. Whose color is orange? Asked the boy. It's mine. Called the carrot. It's mine. It's us. It's us. Jumped the jalebis. The sun turned to frown at them. Whose color is purple? Asked the boy. It's mine. Boasted the Rapunzel. It's ours. It's ours. Fretted the flowers. The sun turned to scowl at them. Whose color is brown? Asked the boy. It's mine. Danced the dog. It's mine. It's mine. It's muttered the mudpot. The sun turned to glower at them. Whose color is black? Asked the boy. Grunted Grandpa's umbrella. It's mine. It's mine. Gloated Grandma Wig. The sun turned to smile at them. Whose color is white? It's mine. Asked the boy. Flapped the father's shirt. Moved Marani the cow. The sun turned to wave at them and dipped gently into the sea, dimming the color of the day. Thank you. Whose color is green? Asked the little boy. It's mine. It's mine. Print the parrot. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine. Babbled the bitter girl. The sun turned to look at them. Thank you.
स्टोरी टाइम। आज हम स्टोरी करेंगे एक किताब से और इस स्टोरी का नाम है इट्स माय कलर्स। तो देखो, एक छोटा सा लड़का, जैसे आप लोग हो ना छोटे से, एक छोटा सा लड़का सूरज से पूछता है कि हरा रंग किसका है? हरा रंग किसका है? तो तोते ने कहा इट्स माइन, ये मेरा है। ये है हरा रंग, ये हरा, हाँ ग्रीन कलर, और अथर्व के पास भी है ग्रीन कलर, हरा रंग।
ये देखो, जो छोटा सा बॉल है ना, ये दादी ये क्या ऐसा बड़ा सा बुक बोल रहा है ना, ये दादी क्या बोल रहा है, क्या इसको देखो कैसे देखो, ये चॉकलेट के टमाटर, ये देखो उड़ने वाली कार, नहीं ये वाली बाउल, अच्छा टॉफी दिए ने क्या पी रही, गाजर हमें खाता गाजर, वो ये गाजर देखो, कैरेट भी बोलते हैं उसको।
Did you
That
enjoy
was
it,
lovely.
Nancy? So thank you.
I've,
Thank you
I've
for giving us.
beyond enjoyment.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us this enjoyable book. And Nancy, we know that you are firstly a designer and an illustrator, and then you get down to
You're
authoring
right.
your books. So how does that work? I mean, you won so many awards, and we just can't figure this out. You start with your pictures, and then you put in the words. So please take us through the creative process so that the children also learn from you as to how this fantastic writer brings out these amazing books.
You're right. I am originally an illustrator for children, and I'm a very visual person. Um, this book is actually an outcome of a non-fiction workshop conducted by Parag, supported by Parag, and in association with Tulika Books and Pratham. And initially, I started this book with actually very less text because I'm not a very text person. I'm more of a image, shape, sizes, and a visual person. And I thought, as I was doing this book, writing the scribbling the ideas, a little text would help to support in a very rhyming way. So that's why you see all the pages almost have the same the rhyming the words, just that the colors would change and just the expressions would change, and that to see children actually turning that into a game, into something like a storytelling within themselves is so nice. It's a good reach actually.
Absolutely, Nancy. So there's a pattern in your text, page after page.
You're
It's the
right.
same sentence and just the color changes, and it's done so beautifully. I guess you had in mind the right audience, the age group. And like you said, the kids would
You're
learn
right.
it and they'd sing with it and play with it. And as you can see in the video,
Correct.
they did a fantastic job, exactly what you aimed them to do. So, Nancy, our children who are beginning to write or make stories, they would love to know
Mm-hmm.
how can they do this like you, that they start with a picture and then it becomes a story. Would you share a bit of that with them?
Yes. Yes, for me, the pattern that I get ideas is when I look around. So I always encourage children who aspire to write or who aspire to illustrate to look around their world, to look around the activities that's happening around them, to look around the people, to look around the places, nature, any simple, silly things that they could observe and store it in their minds. Uh, that's where little ideas get collected, and when you really get an idea, it's just like a small seed, and then you write it down in your notebook, or otherwise you'll forget. Later on you'll forget, so it's always better to put it down in a notebook, in your rough notebook. That's something that you carry always. Children carry their rough notebooks always. So when you write, when you take down notes, when you it could be just a simple word, a single word, or it could be a sentence, or it could just be a visual, a small scribble, and then you try to develop it later. Whether you want to start with images and drawings, it's up to you. Whether you want to start with words, it's up to you. With sentences, it's up to you. So that's how the seed becomes a small plant.
Creativity flows either way. You can start with the illustration or the notes or whatever words you want to put. I'm sure our children are
Yes.
going to be very encouraged catching up with those ideas. So, Nancy, tell me one thing. When you are working as an illustrator and you say you're a visual person, um, do you sometimes work on parallel books? And in case you do that, that you're working on parallel books, how do you manage to maintain the style of, illustration in the different books?
Yes, sometimes I do get to work on several projects at the same time, and I have to. It is a little struggle, especially when you have to juggle your time, when you have to manage your time and to meet deadlines. That's something technical, but coming to the style that you're talking about, it does clash. So I would prefer to work on a single projects at a time, but it doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. So it has to be a very cautious thing. But also, as an illustrator, I've been in a journey for several years. I have developed a particular style that people are able to associate that style with my works. So it will take time to explore and to find out what your exact style is. And if you see my earliest books and if you see my book now, there is a contrast. There is you can never say, oh, this is done by you. And also, as you evolve, whether you're a writer or an illustrator, also technology plays a vital part because technology improves day by day. When I started my first book, I used to paint and draw and everything hand done, everything manual. Scanning was done. It was very difficult those days. Now it's so simple. You have the digital tools. I get to paint on my computer directly. All that it's nice to adapt these things and keep growing along with the technology.
uh, Evolving, growing with whatever's available. And what's your
Yes.
favorite medium to work on, Nancy?
My favorite medium is acrylics, but I also find it very comfortable when it comes to digital because you can always do a control Z. You can always go back to the previous. You can just delete. You can create new layers. And you can also meet very quick deadlines. But I prefer um, acrylics, watercolors. I like I like pastels, but obviously they are time consuming. It actually those mediums, they actually speak with you. You get to it allows the creativity flow. It's nice to touch and feel those mediums, to smell the colors, just to smell the paint or fresh paper.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, Nancy, India is a vast country, and children in one region sometimes don't even know about the food and the clothes and the customs in the other region.
Yes.
So, how do you pick as to which region of India are you going to reflect in a particular story? Is there a way that you decide, or how do you choose that?
Yes, I since I'm from South India, from Chennai, from Tamil Nadu, I have been traveling predominantly in this location, and the people here, the culture here, the daily life here has always inspired me to illustrate. And if you notice, all my works, most of my works, you can see that I have adapted what I see around me. And of course, I do like capturing daily life from the north as well. I had done one book called Nose of All Noses. It's about this little Nani, and that's when I had uh, little difficulties to understand how their houses looked like, what kind of costumes they wore every day. So a lot of researching has to be done, a lot of looking out has to be done. Also, traveling, adapting new cultures does help.
Nancy, uh, you make beautiful picture books, and we all know picture books are a very important part of a child's growing up years. And we have some brilliant picture books internationally as well. So, on this entire canvas of picture books, where does India fit into this map of picture books? I mean, A, where does India fit into this international canvas of picture books? And B, what can the publishers and the readers do to contribute for this picture book segment?
I think overall, India and the publishers here are striving uh, uh, to fit into that place that you're talking about internationally. Apart from that, it's also a, a vital role for the parents to play, for the parents and the children and the schools and any educators to encourage children to buy picture books, to invest. It's actually an investment, like you said. It helps. It's part of growing. Most parents do. There is a crowd who buy picture books for their children. There is also a crowd who thinks it's not important. But I think that has to change. That encouragement has to come from not only publishers and people who write in India, but also from every homes.
So, like you mentioned, parents. A lot of parents in India are now aware of wordless picture books. What do you think is the
Mm.
significance of wordless picture books for children? Sorry, Nancy. Hi, Nancy. I think the frame is frozen, so we'll come back to it again. Some connectivity issue. Absolutely. So let me tell you about this book. It's My Color. I mean, it's amazing. Normally, we would say if we categorize books into different genres, I'd say this is a list book, and Nancy would agree with that. And essentially, we are listing out the different colors for children, 0 to 5 years of age, who are still learning the concepts of color. And it's a very nice and creative way of. Nancy, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Sorry, I'm
yes,
just
I'm
going to
back.
complete the sentence. So I was just telling the audience while you were away for a few seconds that this is what I would say is like a list book where you're very creatively teaching the 0 to 5 year old children about colors in a very fun way and enjoyable manner, right? Is that okay? Since you're the
Absolutely.
expert.
Absolutely. And also the choice of objects that you see, I, I had to pick choice. I had to pick objects that an Indian child would be able to associate to that she or he will find in their own kitchens and will find their appa's shirt is always white. The grandfather's wig. These are things that children could see every day in their own families. It's the colors and these objects to form the concept.
Their own life around them. Fantastic.
Absolutely.
So, sorry, Nancy, we were talking about wordless picture books, and
Yes, you're right.
parents have become very aware of wordless picture books. And what do you think? How significant are wordless picture books for a child who's growing up?
I love wordless picture books, and I want to do lots of them. The nice thing about wordless picture books is it allows the child to think. Every time the child flips through the book, the child can form a new story. The child can discover something new, and there's lots to see, lots to observe, lots to focus on. So, wordless picture books are great, not only for children, but for anybody.
Absolutely. They'd make meaning on their own. And like you said, they keep revisiting it. There is no fixed story.
Correct.
There's a new story each time, so you could read it countless number of times. And for any
You're
age
right.
group, even
You're right.
adults. So, Nancy, what was your favorite picture book? Or what was your first picture book?
My very first picture book, I remember. Um, I feel awkward to say, but it's okay. The Little Red Riding Hood. It's a very Western
Yeah,
book, but that's what I
absolutely.
received. That's what I got.
And the colors were beautiful. I mean, red. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
And who
Reds
has
and
been your favorite illustrator?
I I like uh, works of many illustrators within India and across, but I'd say Priya Kurian is one of my very favorite illustrator. There is Ashok Rajagopalan. There is I mean I can't get their names immediately, but there are several illustrators that I draw inspiration from, and these are the names that I could immediately remember.
Is there any specific aspect of the illustrations that gets you
Oh yes,
motivated or
oh
encouraged
yes.
you, or you just admire them for a specific technique?
Uh, it's many things put together. It's especially I wonder how did they. For example, there's this illustrator called Rajiv Ipe. How did he do that? What medium did he use? Those are technical side, and how did they visualize this in their mind, and how did they translate it into the book? And it's apart from what the story tells, apart from what the text tells, the visual talks a different story. It takes you beyond what you read in the text. So these are things that I really love watching in other illustrators' works.
Nancy, now tell us the most stunning feedback that you've ever received from a reader or a parent. Anyone?
One stunning feedback just happened now when I saw your clipping, and I wanted to like call my family members and show it to them because this is something when I was actually making the pictures, when I was picking up those objects and drawing them, and I was wondering, will a child be able to will this excite a child? Will this interest a child to flip to the next page? And when I see these things, when children dress up like when they recite the story, it's beyond an award that to receive. It's so good. This is one of the best feedback that I've ever got. And there are feedbacks. There are people who say there are. I've done this book called Maharani the Cow, and for this fancy competition that happens in schools, I've heard that children dressed up like Maharani the Cow. So these are great feedbacks actually.
It's one of your award winning titles, right? You won
You're
got
right.
an award for that.
Correct.
So, Nancy, my last question to you, and of course, then I'll follow it up with a question from a couple of students, is during COVID time, when we were all locked up in our homes, your creative juices must have been flowing. I mean, looking at things around you. Did that lead to some new titles? Are we going to be seeing a lot more books coming out?
Oh, yes, definitely. And COVID times are not very nice times, but people who were locked up inside, people who had to be in that the entire world had to stay in inside in their houses. So we see the same things again and again. And as an illustrator, I came up with some ideas to make it interesting, make like you see the sky, that you see the clouds, artists see them as different forms like a reindeer running, or that's how I saw the things around me. So I created imaginary characters, and then I also asked my friends to share their balconies, the things that they saw every day, and I changed those into imaginary places, and that's there on my Instagram page, so you can visit and see those videos. Have a look at them.
Thank you, Nancy. It's been
Sure.
great talking to you. And I'm sure the
Same
young
here.
writers and readers would also be enjoying, and so would their parents be enjoying, learning the fact that they can start drawing their pictures and there's no such thing as starting from the words and then becoming a writer. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. There's this girl called Pratishtha Bora. She wants to know, Nancy ma'am, did you start off with crayons or a pencil or paint when you started making the colorful pictures in this book, It's My Color?
I started with pencil, just the lead pencil, the regular pencil. That's how I started, and I used mixed medium like watercolors and pastels. That's how I started that book. And then later, in the artwork stage, I took it digital.
Thank you. And then there's a last question from Rihanna, who's actually not a question, is a compliment. Nancy, ma'am, this is a very nice way of teaching children about colors. It's not boring like the school books.
Rihanna, thank you.
So thanks a
That's a
lot,
nice
Nancy.
feedback.
We've really
Thank you
enjoyed
too.
chatting with you, and we look forward to many more enjoyable books with amazing illustrations. So, all the best.
Oh yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for calling me in and also talking about illustrations. Illustrations are always hidden inside the covers of a book. So it's nice to talk about them. It's nice to ask questions, how it flows and how it evolves, and also showing the video. It was such a delight and touching. Thank you so much for calling me
Thank you,
in.
Nancy.
All right.